I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Jeremy Kellen. I work for Herring Bank. This is my colleague Ken Adams. We both work at Herring. We're here to present financial literacy to you guys. We want to help educate students with understanding finance and just some basic principles of budgeting, credit, student loans, debt, just things that you guys will be introduced to. You may have already been introduced to some of this, but it's our pleasure to come out and talk to you guys and answer questions and just help you learn a little bit today, hopefully to make good decisions on the future financial choices that you have in front of you. So we do this at over 40 colleges. We provide financial education for students that are a part of our ID card product through Herring Bank. You guys are one of our customers. Your ID cards are processed through our ID machines, and we offer just a multitude of things with those cards. So you probably see the refund choice software in your student portal that allows you to choose where your refunds go, either to your personal bank or to the ID debit card. If you haven't logged into your student portal, make sure and do that. If the school owes you any money, they'll automatically send that to your personal bank or to your student ID debit card. So with that, let's just jump right in here. It is our goal to help students make educated decisions that positively impact a lifetime of financial security. We want to help you understand the basics of finance, the basics of budgeting, to help you guys make those lifetime decisions. We want to start with just helping you see what the actual Texas Constitution and statutes says in regards to financial literacy. There is state law that requires all higher education institutions to speak about and provide financial literacy for college students. It's a very important topic to understand, and these are just some of the topics that are required. It would take a lot longer than the hour we have today to go over these in depth, but I'll do my best to cover what we feel like is relative and what will help you the most. If you have any questions about any of these topics, ranging from budgeting, credit cards, spending, savings, loan repayments, reconciliation, taxes, retirement planning, insurance, financing of healthcare, or any other benefits, feel free to ask as we go, or I'll be around after the presentation, and I'd love to help you guys with any of those questions that you have. The topics that we're going to try to cover today will be budgeting, credit, understanding spending and saving, taxes and insurance, and if we have time, we'll jump into the healthcare benefits, retirement planning, and the student loans. But if you have questions, feel free just to ask as we go. So the first thing I want to talk about is just how important money is, and just how important time is, how important the decisions that you guys make today affect your future. So we want to start out with understanding a budget. And so I'm just going to actually pull up the budget that we have. But before we jump into budgeting, I just want you guys to understand some simple concepts with budgeting. It's very simple. It's addition and subtraction. That's something that we all learned in kindergarten. So it's not difficult. It's not rocket science. And maybe more importantly, it doesn't take a lot of time. And once you build your budget, your monthly budget or your semester budget, the blueprint is done. And that's probably the hardest part. Once you've created your budget, you're able to plug in the numbers and check your budget a lot easier. You're not having to recreate this every single day. And so let's take a look at the budget that you should have on your table. I want to just run you guys through a very simple kind of budgeting tool. The budget that you have on your paper there starts off with income. Again, this is very simple. This would just be your take-home pay. So if you receive a paycheck from your job, go ahead and put that number down there. This is going to be on a monthly basis. So if you get paid every other week or once a month, that's the number that you would put here. If you have additional income, if you've already started a business, if you've already invested in the stock market, if you have if you're babysit, or if you any type of income, then I want you to list that there under additional income. And then I want you to total those numbers, and that's going to be your monthly total income. Again, it's not rocket science, it's very simple. You're going to do the exact same thing for your expenses. Just go through and write down if you have rent or if you have car payments, insurance, if you're having to pay for utilities, if you have subscriptions like cable, internet, your cell phone, your gym membership, any expense that you have. And if you don't have any of these expenses, then great, you have less debt. And that's kind of the goal, is to understand, am I building wealth? Am I building debt? Where do I stand financially? And this is going to help you understand your financial position on a very basic, generic level. But it's a good starting point. So go through, fill out your expenses. Feel free to mark out if you don't have debt payments like credit cards, or if you don't have hobbies, you can mark a line through there and write the exact expense that you do have. And then total your expenses and get a total expense and put that on that bottom line there under your expenses. And I'll give you guys just a few seconds to do that. And this, what we're doing today, is just a generic budget. These aren't going to be, the numbers aren't going to be exact. Now, once you're able to go and look at your bank statements or your credit card statements or your financial statements, and you can adjust these numbers to be exact, I would highly suggest that. You don't want to be misunderstood at all when it comes to your financial position. You want to make sure you understand where you stand, how much money that you have to invest in your future, or how much debt that you're building every single month. And those numbers, they need to be precise. But for today's illustration, just get the best guesstimate that you can. Okay, and then once you have your total income and your total expenses, the very bottom line is income minus expenses. So take that top number, your total income, subtract your total expenses, and then write that number at the very bottom right for your bottom line. This could be a positive number, it could be a negative number. This is just to help you understand on a very generic budget that we're using today, this is where you stand financially. Now, there's a few things that happen when you begin to budget. You start to learn exactly what you're spending. You start to see how much wealth you're building. You start to develop the question of, what can I do with this money? How can I turn this into wealth? Where should I be investing this money? And so I want you guys to take this budget with you today when you leave. Go over your financial statements when you get home and recreate a budget that matches your specific financial position. So create a budget. You can do this on Microsoft Excel. You can do this on Word. You can do this on a simple notebook piece of paper. You can do this on your iPhone, your iPad, and create a budget for yourself that matches your income, your expenses, and your bottom line. I want you to leave room for some additional sections on your budget, because what this is that you have in your hand is just the start of your financial future. This helps you understand if you have additional money at the end of the month to invest in your future, and that could be to pay off debt, that could be to invest in real estate, invest in the stock market. There's a million different things that you can do with the money that you have. Or it may just be that you're realizing I'm earning about as much as I'm spending, and so the light bulb should go off saying I probably need to earn a little bit more, or I probably need to spend a little less. But two things I'd like you to add to this budget, and I want you to write this down on the back of this sheet or somewhere on your sheet. That is investments and savings. And you can see on the budget on the screen over here, it's broken down into income, expenses, and then here is your investments and savings. Now, why is that important? Why do you need to have emergency funds, savings account, financial goals included in your budget? Does anyone know? Okay? Well, because if you have additional money left over at the end of the month, you want to apply that money somewhere. You don't want that money to just absorb into your lifestyle. You want that to start to work for your future. I want you guys to understand a few things about money. There's not a neutral position when it comes to money. It's either working for your future or it's going down in value. There's a few different ways to understand that. One simple way is just basic inflation. Inflation is at a rate of about 3%, and that affects all of us. Every single person in this room is affected by inflation. The reason for that is water, food, bread,